Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Monetizing Pop Culture Content panel. And today we have a bunch of great panelists here, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, tell a little about themselves before we move on. So let's start with Trisha Meyer down at the end.
Hello there. I'm Trisha Meyer in Rewards, a lot of times known as Sunshine Tricia on Twitter and forums and things like that. I've been in affiliate marketing for about 6.5 years and do blogging of different niche pop culture sites as well as a rewards and cashback site.
And then we have Kim Rowley.
Hello, I'm Kim Raleigh, and I have been doing affiliate marketing since 1998. He's telling me I need to talk louder. And I started out with a coupon code site, and now I have a lot of niche blogs.
And then we have James Keating.
Hi, I'm James Keating. I've been in affiliate marketing since 2005, started at Linkshare, and since about 2007, been on the publisher side, working on primarily data feed-driven site.
And I'm Lisa Picarille, and I'm a consultant. I do online content strategies for companies, as well as content creation, and have a product called, or a site called My Content Pro with my partner Todd Farmer, and we're about to launch some great ebooks and products on that. So that's it for who we are. Now let's dive right in. I think I can make this work. All right, let's see. How about just next page?
Spacebar, maybe? Oh.
So this is, okay, we'll get the presentation going up here, but we also want to let you know that there's a different way to ask questions this time around at Affiliate Summit, so you can text a question to us and it'll appear, and that's, you can follow the instructions on the screen. It's ASW 113B, and text your message to 22333. So that would be great. If you have anything you want to ask, and see if we can get back to the presentation here.
I think you should just keep going.
That's my bad. I sent you down the wrong path.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just keep going next. I think he added
Maybe.
that into the PowerPoint for us.
Okay.
Maybe hit the spacebar.
I am.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not.
It's.
What do we need to do to move this forward?
Can everybody see my iPad?
That's closer.
Okay, what do we need to do?
I think I pulled mine as far as I can.
It's not.
Minor technical difficulties.
Stuck on
As close as I can get.
But we have a presentation, so we need to get our presentation up on the screen. Yes.
What? Tell a joke, do a dance.
So there's these three guys on an affiliate marketing summit at the bar. Help me out. This is audience participation, this joke. What happened last night?
This is monetizing pop culture, not how to use PowerPoint.
So the horse walks in the bar, and the bartender says, "Hey, why the long face?"
Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about with this. We're going to, we've already done the introductions. We're going to talk about identifying and tracking pop culture trends, establishing sites, generating content, monetizing techniques, and shortcuts. So let's jump right into identifying and assessing pop culture trends. So one of the biggest things you might be asking is, where do you find these trends? So Tricia, you have a lot of niche sites. Where do you find trends?
I tend to stick with what I know and like. So I talk to other moms, whether it's at Bunko or at PTO meetings or things like that. I just talk to other moms. I ask what their kids are into. I look at what my kids are watching on YouTube, you know, whether it's that Fred guy, all of a sudden, you know, the kids are talking about Fred. Fred would have been a perfect kind of site to launch because all the kids are talking about it and Fred's not really monetizing himself. So I look at the things that they're watching, the things that they're talking about, and then I also do a lot with media, so I keep an eye on book lists, bestseller lists, and then do some research to find out if any of those books are going to be made into movies or have clothing lines or anything like that.
And Kim, what about you? I know you have a celebrity shoe blog.
I have a celebrity fashion blog, and then I also have a shoe blog, but I incorporate the two of them. So I keep track of what the celebrities are wearing and blog about that. Then I tell them where they can find that with an affiliate link, or maybe find that for less, because who can afford, $1,500 pumps? I also get a lot of content I watch the Today Show every single day. And if there's something of interest that they mention, and I blog about it right away. The example that I was telling them earlier about was this Invisibelt. So I immediately wrote a blog post about this Invisibelt as seen on the Today Show, got some Google AdWords to it, and just made a killing within the first 3 days because there was people searching for this Invisibelt that was seen on the Today Show. Used an affiliate link that way, and that post is still indexed in Google and still gets traffic.
And James, what about you? Where do you find all these pop culture trends?
We're a little bit different. We basically use a small-scale kind of crowdsourcing, if you will. We have a number of interns that are in the office, and college students are often very, very tapped into what is hot, what's happening. And so they come into the office with plenty of ideas and interest, and they're eager to write about whatever it is that they're seeing on the streets of New York. And a couple years ago, we started seeing all these really kind of ugly boots called Ugg boots that started popping up on the streets. So we started writing about it, and we do that and in the U.S. and in hopes that also it'll take seed overseas. We'll even write about it for our French side, for our German side, our UK side, et cetera. But basically, we're just trying to do what everybody else is here doing, but maybe a little bit larger scale with people who are deep into pop culture themselves.
So really, there are a bunch of different ways you can do it by observation of sort of what's in your own personal sphere and what you see. You can do it by going through media, whether it's movies, music, magazines, newspapers, staying on top of that stuff. Then you can also do it through search by going on to search.twitter.com and seeing what people are talking about, what's trending. You can look for trends using a lot of the Google has a lot of different tools. So there's a lot of different ways to find these. And then let's talk about the types of different pop culture. So I think people tend to think of pop culture as just celebrities, but it's not just celebrities. So Tricia, what are some other things beyond just celebrities?
For me, it's more about the media. So it might be children's books, it might be young adult fiction, things like that. So I tend to focus on the pop culture of what everyone's reading right now.
And Kim, what about for you? Do you have?
A lot of the as seen on TV items go well, as we all found out that Tricia ordered pajama jeans.
And so we spend a lot of time also talking with our merchants, because our merchants will tell us. I mean, there's pop culture that we're not normally thinking of. Like, recently for a merchant that provides NFL merchandise, we tapped into all the bed sheets and the jerseys and everything else that goes along. I mean, these guys are looking to outfit an entire bedroom to be the Jets, for instance, and we use that feedback to be able to help us figure out the non-typical pop culture stuff.
So basically, people should think of it as not only celebrities and sort of what's popular with them, but there's movies, there's music, there's what kind of is the collective consciousness of people. So people that are news makers, and there's also, things that can be popular in pop culture, whether it's toys for kids or, a return to nostalgia or particular retro items that are coming back. So those are all really big in pop culture. And the next thing is to determine whether you think, is this worthy of making a whole site about, how long is this going to last, and should I devote my efforts to it? And, Tricia, how do you make a determination whether something that you find is a niche that's worthwhile pursuing?
Because I'm a small operation, I have to be really careful of what I want to put my resources into. So, I don't have the luxury of putting up 10 or 20 different niche sites a week. I have to really focus and say, okay, this month I'm going to pick out 2 areas that I want to work out. And so I have to really be very particular about what I put my time into. And for me, it doesn't just come down to what everyone's talking about and whether there are a lot of other sites out there about that topic, but whether people are monetizing them. For example, about 2.5 years ago, there was something called Twilight that hardly anyone knew about. And when I went out and looked for sites, they were all fan sites. And there were a lot of great Twilight fan sites, but no one was monetizing them. So before Twilight became the kind of phenomenon that it is now and became, every merchandiser's dream for about 1.5 years, I was the only site out there that was monetizing it. So it's not just about looking at, how many sites there are, but it's looking to see how other people are monetizing, and if other people aren't, then that's a good time to jump on it.
And Kim, I know you did something interesting with Sarah Palin when she was in the news a lot.
I noticed on my shoe blog a lot of people were searching for the shoes that Sarah Palin was wearing. And so then I jumped out and bought sarahpalinshoes.com and started blogging about all the shoes that she's been wearing lately. And I admit I didn't vote for her, but in a way I kind of wanted her to win just because then I knew that the site
Isn't
would
that
keep
how
going.
it goes with pop
Yeah.
culture? It doesn't matter how much you don't like the fad, you just want it to continue.
Right. And so I still do have the site, so it may make a comeback again.
So, and, we concentrated all onto one single domain. And as we're writing this stuff, we'll also take a different tactic sometimes. We'll actually poke fun at it. So, sorry, but, Twilight is one of those areas that we will poke fun at. We'll round it up with every other vampire thing that's going on right now, put a blog post out. And in that blog post, we'll link back. We're primarily SEO driven. So in that blog post, we'll also link back to all the articles that we've written about Twilight or True Blood or et cetera, to be able to kind of help kind of spread that link equity and around and so forth. But yeah, making fun of it is sometimes just as good. And there's sites like Video Gum and Best Week Ever, which will help you kind of get some idea of what people are kind of getting curious about.
And I know, Tricia, the Twilight thing has been great for you because there's been more than one film, so it's been a sustainable trend. But, how do people know if something's going to last?
You have to go with your gut feeling. I mean, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. You put a lot of resources in and, you see a book series, you hear they're making a movie and it's going to be this great series. They make a movie, the movie flops and your site's pretty much dead. But then other times you just have to pay attention. If you see that they're going to make a movie and you kind of go with, does it look like they have good people that are going to be in that movie? Does it look like it's going to be sustainable? And really just the more that you do it, the better that you get at learning to sense what has long-term potential.
Kim, how do you make those determinations?
Trial and error, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you were
that's
done.
fine. No, go ahead.
Yeah, we just sort of go for it. I mean, we take a law of averages approach, so we know that over time, something that we write an article about might generate about 4 times what it cost us to put the effort into it. So yeah, there's going to be duds, but there's also going to be some really stellar winners in there. And we just write. Plus, having that, if you're into SEO, having that massive body of content, whether it's all producing for you or just some of it is producing for you, is just helpful for your overall domain. So write.
And the other thing is, I would assume that once you have all that content, there's different ways that you could aggregate it together. Like you could have some kind of thing that focuses on one-hit wonders, if that's the case, and pull out all the things that maybe were a failure, lump them together, and have something.
Our Vanilla Ice article does well.
So what about moving really quickly? Like how quickly do you have to move? I know, Kim, when you were talking about Sarah Palin, how quickly was the interest still there for people to care about her shoes?
They still search her shoes because now that she's doing her little Alaska cruise thing, they're still searching, and so I should probably go update the site.
And Tricia, what about you? Like how fast do you have to move on these things to actually make some kind of impact and earn money?
Once I decide on an idea, if I don't get that site launched within 2 or 3 weeks, I scrap the idea. For me, even if it's just putting out the site, and if I can't find anything that is any merchandise for it, what I'll do is just say, Diary of a Wimpy Kid t-shirts, make your own on Cafe Press, make your own on Zazzle, and put up those placeholder posts for very common things that you might find, like costumes. Kristen, always put up a placeholder for costumes for whatever pop culture you're following, because at some point, someone's gonna look for costumes for that. So even if they haven't made them yet, put up a post, where can I find the costumes? So, you start putting those things up immediately, and then hope that eventually it's gonna come back around for you.
Yeah, costumes is definitely a big winner for us. Each year we go through, we refresh all of our costume articles come about August, and we're putting in there, even if we don't know if there exists a costume for a particular individual who's been in the news, we'll try it anyway. Because there's a chance that there will actually be some traffic looking for that, and then we'll be able to send it off to buy costumes, costume craze, et cetera, et cetera.
I have to s-
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I have to say that checks are a big thing too. People are searching for, even though we think checks are dying, we don't write checks, they're still a big, big moneymaker. And I'm a Nebraska Cornhusker fan, so I have a Husker site, and Husker checks are my #1 selling product on that page. But then I also have people searching for NFL checks. Well, I don't believe they make NFL checks, so I actually wrote a post on how to make your own through, I think it's Identity Direct. Go through upload your own picture, and you can make your own NFL checks.
But one of the things I'm curious about is, how did you determine that checks were a big thing? Because to me, I don't write that many checks anymore, so I wouldn't say, oh, that's a trend. So what made you think that's a trend? Were you seeing figures from somebody that were telling you this was growing, or?
I think at the very first share a sale think tank, all the big check places were there and talking about how they're making all this money. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just put it on my Nebraska blog, see if anybody wants any Husker checks. And yeah, they do.
And you have to watch your analytics too, because you may have put up a post that just had the words checks and Huskers in it somewhere, but it wasn't talking about Husker checks. And when you start seeing that you're getting people searching for Husker checks, you're like, oh, I need a blog post specifically about Husker checks then. So you've got to carefully watch your analytics about your articles, because you may end up finding products people are looking for that weren't even on your site, but then through your analytics, you identify you need to have posts about those things.
Absolutely. We grew our Dutch site just by applying that about 2x this year. Just by taking in searches that people were giving us, ancillary to what was actually on the page, and then writing new pages about those.
Yeah. I believe that the title of my post was Pay Your Bills with Husker Pride. Well, now that I know SEO, it's changed, obviously.
Husker checks from Husker checks, get your Husker checks.
So let's talk about the different approaches there are. You could, develop this mega site, or you can have a separate niche site. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each, and maybe we can start with you, Tricia.
From my perspective, I have a couple of sites that are kind of those mega sites where I use my established audience and my established SEO. But for me, because I do so many product reviews, I need to focus on the individual sites, because it's the only way with my SEO and having such a small staff that I'm able to get the traffic. So I tend to focus on the separate small sites just because of my size.
My main site is actually my coupon code site, which is my favorite site. And then the different categories of that actually feed into my separate blogs. So then the shoe deals from my coupon code site actually feed into my shoe blog, so that they post there as well. And same with celebrity fashion, just all the different niches.
And you guys have a little bit of a different approach, James.
Yeah, we're one big, massive site. We've got thousands and thousands of articles all on one domain, and millions of product pages after that. So we've taken the approach of throw it all into one domain, because our SEO is a lot of some fact and a lot of belief, in our opinion. And one of the beliefs that we have is that by having a really large mass of content on a single domain, you actually wind up building some not just your inbound links are going to drive the power and the trust of that domain, but just having good quality content on the domain. It's we have observed how eHow has been able to get a lot of traffic just by writing a lot. And we kind of took that approach and just saying, okay, we're going to build it all onto a single domain. And occasionally here and there, we also have a blog in ShopWiki.com. And on the blog, we use that for what my editor-in-chief hates it when I say this, but I tell her that we're using the blog for evil. And that means that I know that within SEO, we're going to see, certain hits. So we might write an article that is going to be a mainstay article, but whenever something, kind of suddenly flashes, we're able to use the blog as sort of a newsy type site to be able to drive back into the main site and then be able to help the other pages in the main site start ranking all over again.
So what if somebody is you guys are a bigger company, what if somebody's a smaller affiliate and they want to start monetizing pop culture trends? Would you recommend that that one approach over the other would be better for a smaller publisher?
Well, in our pop culture trend, we kind of stumbled into that as opposed, we're writing kind of very boring articles such as, what's a 300 count Nautica bedsheet like to sleep in? It's sort of really boring, dry stuff. And then we sort of stumbled into being able to use pop culture. And that's where we started actually devoting some resources to it and found that it was very successful. So I don't think our approach is necessarily the best one to try to emulate if you're starting for yourself. But if you already have something, you can bolt on to it. That's what we found, at least. I'm sure my panelists have something more productive for the newbie.
For me, I am better at doing the SEO for the sites that are targeted toward the specific trends. So I can have, Twilight stuff or whatever, and then that way I've got whatever my trend is in my domain name. And so for me, I am just able to do a lot better SEO-wise if I stick with those keywords in my domain name.
I've actually cut back on mine. I own like 150 domain names, but I don't have time or the staff to do them all. So I'm trying to concentrate more on narrowing it down to just 10 sites right now.
But there's also nothing wrong with maybe people, if they have an idea, even if they don't end up being able to fulfill it, sort of buying the domain name and then using it in the future. Things do come back around, and there are often ways to spin things, so it doesn't hurt, and you can buy domains for relatively inexpensively at this point, so it probably doesn't hurt to
And we'll be talking
do that.
later about a lot of shortcuts anyway. So for people that want to do that, there are some shortcuts that we'll throw out there later that might help you to get those sites up quickly.
So once you have those sites, now you've got to start populating them with content and creating stuff for them. So there's a lot of different ways. There's original content, syndicated content, news content, product reviews, and maybe we can talk a little bit about how people can generate the kind of content needed. So what are some ways that you might go about doing it, James?
Well, we do use the interns a lot. We're kind of fortunate being in New York City that there's plenty of schools that we're able to recruit from to be able to get to write on the site. We do pretty much exclusively original content. Sometimes merchants have offered to give us content to put on the site that actually already exists on their site. And, that's a great offer, but it's probably not the best one to actually take up on, because you're going to wind up always ranking below that within the Google SERPs. So writing it uniquely and originally is the way that I think you need to take it. And if you can get interns, go for it. Kids love to write and love to be published, and you can pay them dirt cheap, as well as give them something of value for themselves, because they'll be able to say, hey, I've got a published body of work here, when they go looking for, maybe a copywriting job or something like that.
I totally agree. I hire a lot of college students, pay them $5 an article, and it's good stuff. It's totally original.
I'm overpaying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, New York City, okay.
Yeah. And I did, after Jim Kukral released Fiverr, where you can go buy anything for $5, some guy offered to write, I think it was 10 articles. And I made sure they were all original, put them through the little scan thing, and they were great. I'll definitely do that again. That's cheaper. Yeah.
We also tried outsourcing to India, and that was really abysmal. So if you're ever thinking about that, they're probably not ready for doing this type of writing.
And Tricia, what about you? I mean, is original content really important to you?
It is absolutely. I tend to write most of my own stuff. My daughter writes some of it. My mom's written some of it. My husband writes a little. So, anybody who wants to write. I also take some guest posts on some of my sites. But because I tend to focus on the product reviews, the content generation doesn't take too long. But I will pull things from other places sometimes just to get started. Maybe an e-zine article as I'm just starting to get the site up and I'm looking to get a couple articles up quickly.
And what about news content? Do any of you guys use news articles or link to them?
I do use an RSS feed, plug in on a couple of my sites, and bring in some headlines, like for Wizards of Waverly Place, Selena Gomez stuff. I just bring in headlines about Wizards of Waverly Place, and then it links out to those articles. So it's more just to add some extra stickiness for my readers so that they'll want to keep coming back, because it's always updating for me with new articles every day. And it does send readers away from my site, but if they go away and they read good content, hopefully they've already looked at my site, they've seen my product reviews, and they've bookmarked me to come back again.
I agree. On my Husker site, I'm going to link out to the different people talking about Huskers, and I wouldn't say it's sending them to a competitor because they're reading about Husker news. They're not going to buy from those other sites. Same with celebrity sites. I have a celebrity gossip section that's all RSS fed.
Yeah, and we actually have done nothing with syndication of news information. So, sorry.
And it's also really important to follow up with people and have things like newsletters and some social media outreach. So, Tricia, maybe you can talk about forums and newsletters.
Yeah, it's hard to do, especially if you have a lot of these pop culture sites. It's really almost impossible to generate a full-fledged forum community for each different site. So I tend to go either the newsletter route or just a Twitter account or a Facebook fan page. And what's even easier than the Facebook fan page, if you don't think you'll get people to like the whole fan page for your site, just adding the buttons for Facebook to your individual articles or to your product reviews can help you build up a little bit of community on Facebook, because if someone hits that like and posts to their wall, then there might be a discussion on their Facebook page. You may never even see it, but you may see in your analytics that you're getting hits from random Facebook pages that you don't even know what they are, and it's because you've sort of started a mini community about your site within that person's Facebook wall.
I do a lot of Facebook, and I do the Facebook ads where for the shoe site, and I have found, I learned it at a different session last year, set your ads so that they are only shown to friends of the people that are already fans, and I can get fans for 4 or 5 cents, and then I also have my RSS feed go out to all those fans. So every time I do a new blog post, it's going to be on their Facebook page, and they're going to click it on, and it goes from there.
And from our perspective, well, we're in New York State, so email newsletters become actually kind of a challenge with the New York State nexus. So we've stayed away from that. But we were taking a very schizophrenic approach, and this is more in things not to do as opposed to what to do. In our social media, we had taken this. We're going to shout out all this stuff about any particular deal that's on our site, and then with the same breath we'd also talk about what cool posts we made on the blog, or and what new article that we've written. So we wound up really with not a good audience for either side, and in fact we've discontinued the shouting at anybody who is following us, and are now focusing just on what everybody else has just shared with us as the best practice.
So we talked a little bit about product reviews, but we didn't really get into products and data feeds and how that can really help you. So there are a bunch of different ways with banner ads, AdSense, ShopSense, and obviously affiliate links. But Tricia, maybe you can tackle the data feed one first.
I've started using data feeds in a couple of different ways on my sites, and I'm still kind of experimenting. Depending upon whether you find one particular merchant that you want to pull their entire data feed and use, or whether you're trying to pull from different merchants, you need to look at it differently. For me, for some sites where I'm just pulling in one merchant and populating a site with one merchant's products, it's easier for me to pull that data feed myself from the network and then just update it. But for most of my sites where I'm pulling coming from, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 different merchants, I'm using tools like pop shops to be able to bring those in. So you can either build whole storefronts on your site or just put things directly into your blog posts with the plugins. So I've been kind of trying out, if you use your own data feed, you're able to customize it a lot more for SEO, so that's obviously the upside. But you'd need to go to the data feed session that's going to be later this afternoon, the Monetize Summit, and they can give you all the details on how to do that.
I've tried the pop shops, but in order for it to index in Google, you have to pay for the version, and I'm the freebie queen, so I want everything free. So I use Affiliate Store, which was a downloadable script, and not a lot of people I've noticed have used it, so I'm not finding other sites that. And then I just have them a section off of my blog that brings in people.
Yep.
Or-
What do you guys do, James?
And we're as a comparison shopping site, in addition to the content we write, data feeds and we also do crawling. So we had to build our own system because we had hundreds of millions of offers from crawls, so we had to figure out a way to get the data feed to work. It's probably a little bit too complicated and way out of the scope of this panel to describe how our data feed system works. But they do turn into our money pages, because what we do is we write our content with a neutral point of view, and then we direct the user onto the page that shows all the products and all the stores that carry those products. And that, and from the testing we've done, we feel that actually helps in the conversion rate, because they start off as a neutral point of view, and then we help direct to the merchants who helped us identify the content and put them at the tops of the list.
So one of the things we don't have on here is sponsorship, and I'm wondering, does anybody use any specific sponsorship as a way to monetize, like reaching out to some of the manufacturers or ancillary vendors that make products that might be a good fit and try to get some sponsorship?
I don't use any overall site sponsorship except for the contests that I use. And the contests that I do are always to build the community, whether it's building the Facebook page or the newsletter lists or whatever. So that's the extent to which I use the sponsorships, would be to reach out to a merchant and ask them to donate a product that fits that particular pop culture category.
I do the same. I wanted to add, I use the AdSense and the ShopSense a lot on the celebrity fashion site and my shoe site. They're indexed in Google, but then when you go there, the data feed's not updated on those pages, or it's no longer available, but I still want to make money off of that visitor. So at the top, I have a ShopSense ad automatically that'll come in, it'll say that category, but then I also use Chitika. Did we say that's how you say it?
Chiquita.
Chiquita? I don't know how to say it.
Chitica.
Chitika. Oh, that's...
But I use them, and they are only shown to search engine traffic. So
Now, I didn't know what
Oh.
ShopSense was till you said you used it. Will you tell them what ShopSense is? Because I didn't even know, I'd never heard about it except for from you.
ShopSense is actually another affiliate that do a lot of fashion sites, and I will use them, like Bloomingdale's won't accept me as an affiliate, so I'll go through ShopSense and use the affiliate link through them because they got approved for Bloomingdale's. But they do pay per click, and works out okay.
But one of the
so they
important...
back out a CPA into a CPC
Yep.
for you.
So one of the important things for people to remember, though, is there's probably not one single technique that they should be using on their site or a page, that they should be using a variety of or different combinations of these and see what works for them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even though we're here at Affiliate Summit and it's primarily the topic is CPA, and there's CPC through AdSense, through maybe some sort of like shopping.com or Shopzilla type of sub-syndication. There's also, and CPM banners that you can tap into, maybe, and we're in a small private network of banner distribution, but, and like advertising.com, you might be able to get like a dollar CPM out of an advertising.com or tap into Google's banner distribution now. And so there's lots of ways to monetize this. So even if they don't wind up clicking and going off to a retailer's product page, you can still monetize that page despite, maybe not without even an external clink. Thinking about the bar.
You mentioned the banner ads, and one thing for me that I found is that you have to make a distinction when you have a pop culture site when you want to put a merchant's banner ads, you need to really think about whether people recognize that merchant's name. For example, on my Twilight site, there was a site called Customized Girl that had really great products, but people who were looking for Twilight merchandise wouldn't have seen a banner for Customized Girl and went, oh yeah, that's me. But instead, they had banners that had images of, Bite Me t-shirts and things like that. So when the Twilight fans visited the site and they saw the banners with people wearing those t-shirts, then they were interested enough to click on them. So you need to think about when you put the site up, you may know, all these merchants' names, but you need to think about whether the people who are coming to your site who are interested only in that trend, whether that's a merchant name that they recognize or whether you're going to need some banner ads with products in them to make them click on them.
And I find that a lot of people don't click on the banners, so I use more of the CPM banners where I just get paid per impression. So if you have a fashion site or anything, I recommend signing up with glam.com. It seems to be the highest CPM that I've found.
So we talked about a couple of these already, these shortcuts, but we can go over some of them again. Pop Shop, Skim Links, Golden Can. We talked about RSS feed. So maybe you guys can get into sort of what Skim Links and Big Link can do.
I don't personally use either one, but I've started testing them out just to see what they can do. Does anyone in the room use either Skim Links or Big Link?
Does anyone know what skim links or big links are?
All right.
All right, so who wants to explain?
Yes, I can. From what I know, understand, essentially, you place a piece of their code onto your site, and then it will redirect links for you. So, for example, if you don't have a relationship with jcpenney.com, but you blog about jcpenney.com, if it's within their network, once you add this one piece of JavaScript to your form or your blog or whatever, they will automatically redirect your links, and then you'll be paid from within their system. So, in some respects, it's kind of like a sub-affiliate network, but they're different the way that they work. So you have to really take a look and see whether you need to be approved for those merchants through them or whether you're automatically approved for all merchants through them, and really read the fine print about that. But what it seems to be best for are people that either don't have a lot of time to form those relationships themselves with the merchants, or people that maybe you have a lot of people writing for you that don't know how to do the text links and add in all of the affiliate links, and they're generally generating a lot of content, and all you have to do is tell them type in jcpenney.com, and then that's going to add the links for them. So it's definitely a shortcut, and it's not for everyone, but depending on the kinds of sites that you have, it might work out well.
I have found, though, that and since they're a bigger affiliate, they might get a bigger commission cut. For instance, I don't do a lot with Apple.com. I think they only want to give me 1%. So I actually signed up on Tricia's incentive site, and she gives like 2 or 3% commission because she gets a higher commission rate. So therefore, she can pass it on. I make more going through her, plus she makes some, and it's a win-win situation.
Now, what about Golden Can? That's primarily for data feeds. And we've talked a little bit about that. So that's for people who don't want to build their own data feeds, and this is a good way to sort of get it so that you can customize it yourself.
Is Asif in here?
I don't see him.
Okay.
Somebody tweet and tell him we're
Good,
talking
let's
about
talk
him.
about him.
He knows how to dance.
What I use Golden Can for are on my niche sites where I don't want to build out whole coupon sections. I use Golden Can to just generate a general coupon page, and then I can go in and say that it's a site where I think I might sell a lot of costumes. I can just say coupon, costume coupons, and then I can go into Golden Can and just say, check off these 7 different merchants that have costumes, and it's going to generate a piece of code for me that I can use as a PHP include, so that I'll end up having it, for SEO purposes, I'll have the links. So then I can have a whole customized, updated costume coupon page without actually having to add those coupons myself all the time. So you have to have a niche that it works with.
And I haven't talked to him in a while. What's his business model on how he gets compensated for that?
Most of them are the free of 4th click now. It used to be that for every 4th click that you sent through them, they would take the revenue from that 4th click. So it wasn't that they took a quarter of your revenue. It was literally 1, 2, 3. If the 4th person bought something, they took the revenue. 1, 2, 3, 4th person, they took the revenue. But I believe a lot of the merchants are now paying them, so they're called free of 4th click, so you're not actually losing anything at all. And it comes through your own affiliate network. You're putting your affiliate ID into Golden Can, so it's free to use it, and you're getting all the revenue on all those free of 4th click merchants.
I believe he told me he's trying to get rid of the total fourth click just because people don't want to use those, which I wouldn't
Right.
either. And I think he charges merchants like $99 a month, to be honest, to use Golden Can.
So now, what about pop shops? We went into that a little bit, but maybe we can go over.
And then, now you said you use the free version, but you don't like to use as much because of the SEO.
Well, I don't
You
use it at
all
all.
now? Okay.
Because I don't want, the free version is just JavaScript. And I did try the full version, but I didn't really care. to
I
pay
use
that
the one
much.
with the PHP includes for the SEO benefits, and essentially you go in, and the one thing is you have to know who you're affiliated with. So when you go in, they may have 4,000 merchants listed with products for the Smurfs, and if you check mark all of those, but you don't have a relationship with a lot of those, you're going to send traffic and you're not actually going to get anything. So you do have to pay attention when you go in that any of the merchants that you choose to pull products from are ones that you already have an affiliation with through whichever network ID you're using with them. But there are some really nice shortcuts in terms of building, even if you're using WordPress. You can build an entire shopping store on your site within about 15 minutes, customized by how big you want the font to be, whether you want to show the prices for the merchandise. You can use it for multiple sites. So I have one account with them that I pay like $29 or $30 or whatever a month, and I run them on maybe 10 of my different websites.
I do admit that I do log into my free site if I'm trying to find a certain pair of shoes and I can't find them anywhere. I'll log in there so that I can see who does have them, what affiliate
That's a
program
good
has
idea
them.
too, if nothing else, just using, in terms of a resource, good
And
to
I'll
sign
see-
up for it.
That, oh, ShoeBuy has them, well, then I'm going to go into CJ and go get the link from ShoeBuy.
Good idea.
Now, anybody want to talk about the blog broadcasts as newsletters?
We both do that, right,
Yeah,
Kim?
I use ProSender,
I use Aweber.
which is basically the same thing.
So for my newsletters, I have my template set up, and I might put, a coupon that matches, get customized T-shirts for whatever the newsletter is targeting, whatever pop culture niche. And then I just have it set up to pull my blog posts to send out. Like if anybody signs up for Sean Collins' affiliate tip newsletter, it's basically that, where when you're getting that newsletter and he has it set up to come every Tuesday morning or after every 4 posts or whatever, you're not having to actually generate newsletters every week. It's pulling from your blog for you the titles and the blurbs from each of those to get the people back into your site.
And the other thing I think that's always good to remember is a lot of these companies that provide these tools and shortcuts actually have affiliate programs themselves. So you can put something at the bottom of your newsletter and say like powered by Aweber and actually include your affiliate link. In case anybody clicks on that, you can make money on that as well.
That's a good idea. I want to do that.
Okay, so that's really all of the sort of formalized part that we were going to talk about, but we definitely want to see if there are questions that anybody has specifically for any of us, and I'm going to attempt to follow the rules and see if we can get the other screen up so that I don't get in trouble for not doing it the right way.
Oh.
Let's say something's happening.
It's fetching the data.
No
Okay,
response is
so
received.
it doesn't look like anybody has gone through the new system
Come
to
on, you know you wanna
post a
ask.
question, but if somebody wants to just ask a question, I'm not encouraging it, just so I don't get in trouble, but there is a mic, so I guess you could stand up.
I'll just shout really
Oh,
loud.
it's on.
it's on
now.
Go for
Okay.
it.
So I just brought my notes up here, but I just was curious, in your perspective, what percentage of links on your sites are not affiliate links? And do you recommend, or do you feel like having a certain number of non-monetized links actually helps your rank in Google or on SERPs? Or is that a best practice that you would recommend to other affiliates, to have actual links or to outbound, like other blogs that you follow, or to other companies that aren't necessarily monetizing your site, but might actually help Google hold on to your rank, or increase your rank, or consider you for increased rank?
That's actually a practice that we do. All of our articles, none of them have affiliate links in them. They are all either internal links or links to the original content that we use as a reference point for it. So, one of the things that we feel out of that is exactly what you just asked about, is it gives value to that particular article, and then we send them deeper into the site onto basically product search pages that will then have affiliate links on those particular pages. But the actual, the real good original content that we're writing is free and clear of any of the data feed crawled offers that we have, and it's also just an internal linking or and links to the original content. So yeah, we practice that, and we feel it actually works very well.
I add a lot of non-affiliate links as content, because if people are coming looking for free stuff, you want good free stuff, because if all the affiliate free stuff offers are gonna be enter your email address for a free iPod, and they're not gonna get a free iPod, so you want genuine freebies to draw the customers to come back.
I don't use a lot of links except for my affiliate links because my sites tend to be a lot of product reviews. So I use the news links to add content to the site, and we'll send people to the other news sources. But other than that, I tend to use the affiliate links within each of my posts because I'm reviewing the products.
We got another question out here?
Yes. How would you know if there are merchants out there willing to pay you for your blogging? If, say, you were, because we're here in Vegas, say I was to do a blog on casino gaming, how do I know that there is a market out there who's willing to pay for that kind of SEO?
That's where you have to get creative, where you have to start and say, this is what I want the site to be about, and make a list of all the different things that you think you could monetize. Casinos, are you looking at travel? Are you looking at casino equipment? Are you looking at home poker game sets? So you have to really sit and think about all the different things that surround your topic. And then once you start searching for those sites, it's usually pretty easy to tell. If you do a search for something and you end up on a price comparison site or something like that, chances are pretty good those are all affiliate links.
You can go to offervault.com and search. They have the different,
For CPA offer.
mostly CPA, but they do have the CJ links in there as well, I've noticed.
We actually just run queries on our site to see if there's any monetizable offers underneath it, and then write on it.
Okay, I'm going to just take a question from here because we actually have a couple of them. And I'm
Cool. Good job.
I think everyone could see the first one. And Tricia, if you want to try and answer something like that, you can. But I think that goes possibly a little bit beyond the scope.
Oh yeah, all I do is, that's basically it right there. I use exec PHP plugin and then just do the PHP includes either on the pages or the posts using that exec PHP plugin. All free.
Okay, so the next question says, can anyone do this, and how long does it take to start making money?
You're going to be billionaires tomorrow, I promise.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a get-rich-quick thing, and also
Certainly
I
not.
think there's a little bit of, there's the combination of timing, implementation, and just sort of, what hits.
Well, like Kim said earlier, the trial and error. I mean, you have to put some sites out there and see if you start getting traffic, see if you start finding, good products to monetize for your topics. A lot of it is just starting out the trial and error, but anybody can do it. If you can write 3 paragraphs, you can put up a site that you can monetize.
Yeah, just get a WordPress blog and just start trying. Yeah, I mean, it may just be a hobby at first, but eventually it can actually, if you can really find an audience, and if you can start driving an interest, and maybe even you can't plan for viral, but it may happen. And that's how we found out about some of the sites that we actually look to, like the Video Gum or Best Week Ever, and just go for it.
So I saw that somebody here had a question. Go.
Yeah. What percentage of your traffic is free compared to paid?
What percentage of our traffic is free compared to paid? Mine's 100% free. I don't pay for any traffic at all.
I'd say mine's 80 to 90% free.
Yeah, we're 100% SEO, organic traffic.
I do some Google AdWords, but I don't like coupon codes. I'm not going to try to bid on that. If I'm going to bid on, if I want a page on my coupon code site, I'm going to pick a certain page and line up to that page and do some long tail.
How do you, obviously given you do mainly SEO, how do you get links for your sites and therefore rank above like conversions and things like that, given that you're basically monetizing off their products, running up their products,
For me, it's staying ahead of the curve. You know, it's coming up with those pop culture trends before anybody else is thinking about them. So like I said earlier, you know, I might put up a post about t-shirts for a particular pop culture item when there aren't any merchants that are even making those t-shirts. So now I'm ranked first for, you know, Wimpy Kid t-shirts, and then all of a sudden 6 months later someone makes those t-shirts and I'm still ranked first. And as long as I'm doing a good job, I'm going to hold my ranking. As long as my site is giving, you know, the people that are coming through search, giving them what they want, I'm not going to lose my ranking most of the time, even when someone else all of a sudden starts selling those shirts.
Like my example of the Today Show again, when Prince William gave Kate Middleton her ring, I wanted to find a knockoff ring just like it. So I found one at Imitations, I blog about it. I ranked higher in the rankings than Imitations right away. I don't know if I do any more, but.
And in terms of building links, I think these days Google has gotten a little bit smarter about how much link purchasing has been going on. And I wouldn't put as much weight into trying to build page rank. First off, you won't actually know what your page rank is anymore. The toolbar doesn't accurately reflect what your page rank is. But the thing that we have actually found is that we've actually done tests on this, you know, where we just had, you know, random stuff on a page, and then we actually wrote content around it. We wound up basically about 4x the original traffic when we started adding content to it. And then just by adding a few links to that, we wound up going another 6x on top of that. So you don't need a lot of links in order to make something really pop. You just need one, maybe two. And you know, if there's somebody from Google in the room, of course you don't go out and buy links to that. You write compelling content so that somebody might reference it, like how we would reference, you know, in some original content elsewhere that, you know, we wrote this article on, you know, on Steelers, you know, in whatever, you know, paraphernalia, and we use this Wikipedia source and we use this blog and so forth, and people in kind will do the same thing for you. So
I think
give a
also,
little link love and you get some.
and calling something different than its official name, you know, if you know somebody is looking for the Smurf blanket, whatever the actual name is called, but everybody calls it a Smurf Snuggie, write your blog post about where to find Smurf Snuggies. And then within the post, give the actual name of the product and where to find it. But think about what your readers are going to be looking for. A lot of times they're not going to be looking for the exact product name. They're going to be looking for what everybody calls that product.
I've also found, what?
Oh, Todd has a question too.
Yeah, we had a question.
Oh,
Can you step to the mic, actually? That would be helpful.
You.
Have you found any WordPress themes that are more effective than others? And also, do you build an email list and market with autoresponders?
Well, we use Aweber and ProSender as our email
that's all.
lists. And they'll have like a fade-in pop-up, so it's not, that are unblockable input there. And
I use the thesis theme on most of my sites just because I bought the developer's license, but I have, you know, Revolution on some and I have cut lines on others, and I haven't noticed a huge difference as long as you're using the right plugins and you're doing a good job with your titles and your descriptions and things like that. I don't think there's a measurable difference from one theme to another.
And me being the freebie queen, I like Biblical Scholar. And also now the new WordPress. I actually kind of like when you upgrade, it's not bad. But I wanted to go back to I'm sorry, real quick. When you buy Google AdSense words, there's some words that you cannot bid on. Like you cannot bid on the word knockoff or replica, or you cannot bid on any pharmaceutical brand name. So I kind of get a list of all those and incorporate those into my blog name, because you know you're going to be the top of the search engines because there's not going to be any ads with that. But people still search for the knockoff, or they search for Viagra. You'll find that you cannot buy those.
That is an insider tip you all need to write down.
You should have a word of caution, though, when going after any replica product, that you may actually get the brand coming after you. That does happen with cease and desist.
Yes.
We've got somebody coming up to the mic.
Question. I'm not sure if you actually went through this because I came in a little late, but let's say using an image from people.com, how do you feel about that? Like a source, a trusted source like that.
I use them, but I give them credit.
I don't tend to use those images for the most part. I tend to use just the product images themselves, so it doesn't impact me as much.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do celebrity stuff, I think you need to give attribution for the photos.
And sometimes the merchants themselves will already have, like Imitations, a lot of times already has their own photos that they've put together that show the product on the person, and they've gotten permission for those photos. So sometimes just by going through the merchants, you can get those images through them as well.
For celebrities, you can go through Wire Image and get a free account and download pictures of celebrities there. They'll say, for the free account, they say Wire Image across them, but I'm okay with that.
We got a question up front here.
When you talk about anticipating potential upcoming things like Twilight or there's a book and a hot movie, you know, with the limited amount of time that we have as small businesses, how do you choose which one you're going to spend the time on writing a post on with the anticipation of potentially monetizing in the future when you could be monetizing things immediately? How do you, balance that?
I look for a couple of key things. For example, I read an article about a book that came out last week. I can't tell y'all because I'm going to put up a new site next week. I read an article about a book, and I ordered the book immediately because it's a sequel and I love the book. And in the article with the author, she said, yes, the movie rights have already been purchased, and we're coming out with a new clothing line next year. I went, yeah, new domain name. We'll be registering that today. Because those are key words. I mean, you're looking for movies coming out, clothing line. You can't pass up on something like that because those are things that you know you can monetize quickly. So it doesn't hurt to go ahead and buy that name. And if they don't end up making the movie or if the clothing line is terrible, you spent $20 or whatever on the domain name. But when I see keywords like that, that's the stuff I jump on.
And I would think that just if you're looking at, like, say, movies or something, even if you're looking at a sequel and you're not sure whether that's going to be successful or not, you have sort of the reliance on the previous version and the popularity of that and any items associated with that you can then leverage for in case the sequel doesn't do so well.
We will update articles as new things come out. And a band, for instance, will add that their new album is onto the page. And new movies on, and whatever it may be, a new sequel, et cetera. So we'll update a post as well.
I see a question over here. Yes.
When you're buying domains around trends, what do you do regarding trademarks?
I stick with names that tend to deal with reviews and fan sites, so it makes it clear that I'm not trying to be the official site, and I just make it very clear. I have never, had anyone come after me because I'm not, creating my own Twilight jewelry and trying to make a buck off of it. I'm sending people to their official licensed Twilight merchandise. So because of that, I've never had any problems with it.
About 10 years ago, I had a cease and desist from a merchant because I had them in a domain name.
You just take it down?
Yeah, I just took it down.
We have a question right there. Yes.
Oh, just curious, how many page views do you think that you need in order to generate some sort of viable income for
I'd say it's earning, you look at the earning per click, you might only have a
Yeah.
site that only has 100 visitors, but if you're making a lot of money, it's more lucrative than another site that gets 1,500 clicks and you're not making any money.
I would love more clicks per page as opposed to more page views. More page views means they're on the site more and spending less time on a merchant site. So our key is to drive them out as quickly as possible into a merchant site.
We only have time for one more question. Anybody got a final question for us? Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. Okay, well, it looks like that's it. Thank you very much for coming to this.